99.5 Global FM, your number one source for R&B in the Bahamas. Yeah.
Global 99.5.
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madeira Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women. Be helpful. There you go. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift, on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in today and making GPS a part of your afternoon routine. So joining me here on the show today is someone who's becoming sort of a regular, a loyal jealous, because he been a regular on other shows too. I'm the jealous type.
I'm always there for you. I'm always there for you.
So I got to be grateful for whatever time he gives me. You see, because he might have bigger fish to fry. But anyhow,
behave yourself. Behave yourself.
Cassius Stuart is back in the house with us here on GPS. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Michelle. It's always a pleasure, and always a pleasure to have an opportunity to speak and to talk and to share opinions and ideas.
Yeah.
How do we advance this country forward?
Well, I love having you on the show because you don't come from the typical perspective all the time. Sometimes you just come from left field with stuff.
That's right.
But whatever you do come with, it is thought-provoking.
Yes.
And that's what we need to be doing. That's what GPS is all about. Encouraging thought and, looking at things from outside the box and from a different perspective with a view to maybe you need to shift and make some changes to us to head in a better direction. So I really do appreciate you and what you bring to the show each time you come.
All right, let's go. Now, I have no idea what we're talking about today, but I know we're talking about something. I have no idea what we're talking about.
We didn't discuss what we're talking about.
We could be talking about trigonometry, algebra, quadratic equation, dangling modifiers.
But see, what y'all he good like that, you see? He good like that.
Newton's first, second, third law of physics. Well, whatever. Let's go.
Actually, we're talking about something that you know all too well, because that's because you're a very successful businessman.
Okay.
And I wanted to hear the businessman's perspective. And I thought, you could broaden it if you want, but I definitely wanted to hear the businessman's perspective from this ongoing back and forth between the government and the Retailers Association, the Pharmaceutical Associations of the Bahamas, who are pushing back and saying, listen, man, you all have this thing in your head, how you all think this could work, but our reality is we business people.
Yeah.
And if you don't give us, some kind of recourse, some kind of, you're looking at possibly closing us down.
Yeah.
And, Bahamian people right now, a lot of Bahamian people right now are going through, people suffering. Mm-hmm. People catching eternal hell.
Global people are suffering,
Global.
not just Bahamians,
And,
everywhere.
and every little bit that they can get a break, they looking for that. So to be quite frank, many people are in support of the government in this issue because as far as they could see, the government looking out for them.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
question, though, is the prime minister says, business people have to play their part in all of this as well.
Mhm.
But my question is, while it sounds good up front, what does that look like on the back end? But before you answer that question, Jason, play that clip for me with the prime minister. This is him addressing the House of Assembly yesterday, I believe it was, with regard to this issue.
Mindful of pressures facing Bahamian businesses. Similarly, when we added diapers and more food items to our price control list, we are signaling to businesses that we expect the savings from reduced customs duties to be passed on to Bahamians. Business owners will still make a profit, just a little less than they would otherwise. We have listened to their concerns, and we have been flexible about some of the details. We will continue to review the impact of price controls on both consumers and businesses. But the bottom line is, the cost of this global inflation crisis must be a shared burden, not one that falls primarily on Bahamian families just working to get by. You have to share it. That's my cry to all.
Now, for the typical Bahamian consumer, that sounds dead good, Cassius. That sounds good.
Perfect. I hear for you.
Yeah. But from the business perspective, what are your thoughts?
From the business perspective, basically from that perspective, it is basically a dagger in the heart.
What that mean?
Because what happens is that there are two types of situations running in any economy. You have the private sector that runs their free enterprise, and then you have the public sector, which government is responsible for those corporations that are manned by the government, right? The reason why it's called private is because it is exclusive from government.
Okay.
When the public sector or the elements of the public sector stretches over into the private sector and start to make demands, is something called communism. Because only in communist society can you dictate what private sector does and how they do it. Now, everybody operates under regulations. Of course, you have your business license and you accept those regulations. But when you start to say, well, I can only pay X amount for sell this water for $1, then you're infringing on the private sector. In business, we call it free market forces.
Right.
Okay. When you have competition in the marketplace, then you have what they call, I guess, you have a price war, and that forces price down. The trouble is that when you have all of these different merchants, you have the Pharmaceutical Association, you have the retail associations, and they have different prices on different products. For the government to demand that these prices are at a particular percentage markup is not a good thing. I'll tell you why. Because in 2014, Venezuela decided to do the very same thing. After the death of Hugo Chavez, Maduro decided to implement what they call the Fair Price Act. And he went into the merchant stores and said, listen, you all are selling these televisions too high, refrigerators are too high, and all these products are too high. Remember, this is a socialist society, and we're going to remain socialism, and you can only charge X amount. The merchants had no choice. They said among themselves that when we sell out this inventory, we ain't buying no more. And if you want to sell your TV for that price, then you go buy it. You understand? Because if we go at the price you're giving us, Mr. Maduro, then we won't make a profit.
And you can't stay open if you don't make a
Precisely.
profit.
Yet 2 days ago, the nation of Qatar exports liquid natural gas to the European Union.
Right.
The European Union said to Qatar, listen, we have heavy inflation, and therefore we're going to put a price caps on liquid natural gas and fuel coming in.
Mhm.
Qatar said, well, if you do that, we can divert all our ships to Asia. Because even though you have your problems, we're still in the free market.
Mhm.
We have contracts. We have deals that we already cut. You can't come on the back end and say, okay, now, Mr. Qatar, I can only pay you X amount for your fuel. He said, no. We will not sell 1 ounce of fuel to the European Union. And so we see it all across the world now. We see it all across. You see Venezuela tried it. The whole Venezuelan economy collapsed.
Mhm.
The European Union is now trying it because their people are suffering, their people are hurting as well too,
Right.
and they want cheap gas.
Right.
But the Bahamas, we have our issues as well too. But like I've been saying time after time, you cannot just throw all of the burden on the private sector without you, the government, helping out. If I bring in a container, $20,000, the shipping on that is $10,000 or $30,000.
Mhm.
So when I calculate my duty is on the $30,000 plus or minus some extra fees, right?
Mhm.
Then I get a final number. They charge me VAT on the final number, which includes the duty and the shipping. So I paying my VAT on the commodities, the duty, and the shipping. So it's a double taxing system. For me, the argument is if you want to ease the cost of living, tax the commodities and instead of just and not double taxing the VAT and the duties.
Right.
And so the government has a responsibility as well too. And then when you look at all of your cost of sales, you look at all your sales, at the end of the day, you would make, let's say you make $100,000. Buried in that $100,000 is your VAT receipts as well too. Because remember, VAT is added onto the final number.
Mhm.
Then when your business license tax is, we tax on business license, you tax on the total gross money you make, not net. So even though your business made, let's say $500,000 in total sales, at the end of the day, you did not turn a profit, you're minus $10,000. You're still paying business license on the $500,000, even though you lost. Okay?
Mhm.
So all of those things that the government is doing is like, basically you getting yours off the top. You double taxing us on imports, and now you telling us that, we got to play our part. The government has a responsibility to play their part too. And the way to handle this is not by bullying. You cannot come with legislation to the private sector and say, this is what's going to happen or else. You sit down with the private sector and say, listen, these are the challenges we're facing as a nation. We reduced duty on these products, and we would love for you, we would expect you to, we would love for you to consider reducing the cost on this. But when you pull out the switch is when problems start.
Mm.
You see? If you want a particular position as the government, the best way to do is negotiate, not to bully. And so the government's position is, I'm bullying them, I'm telling them what they have to do through legislation. Now, they're saying that, the Retail Association and the Pharmaceutical Association should not break the law. But, what if you create a law that goes against my moral belief? Should I obey that law? You understand? And so the question is, the first step should have been made was, how do you sit down with these people and negotiate?
Mhm.
But the government has said that, listen, there are X amount of categories of products that are going under price control, which amounts to almost 7,000 items, right? Now, the Pharmacy Association said November 1st, they did not make the changes because, of course, they were still waiting to meet with the Prime Minister. They were still waiting to meet with the ministers. That meeting had not been concluded. And so, therefore, they were forced to close their door, because if they had not closed their door, then they would have been subject to these fines that would have been levied upon them based upon the new law. And that means 7,000 items would have been made at $500 or $5,000 or $5,000. $500 or $5,000 per fine. And that would have been too much.
I think it's 5,000.
5,000.
I think so.
5,000 per item.
I could be wrong, but I think that's the number that I heard.
Yes, 5,000 per item. And so for me, it doesn't make sense for you to come with this over heavy-handed approach when you're trying to ask the private sector to consider reducing their prices. Remember now, these individuals went off to school. These individuals went to study to learn how to do what they do. They took their money, they invested their money into the business. The government did not give them a dollar. Most of them didn't get a dollar from the government. They're operating, they're employing people. And so you got to respect what they call their right to operate. Now, in any market across the world, you have entrepreneurs. What if the government decide to say, well, listen, I know that it's kind of it's the pressure is too tight now, and for all hairdressers who are listening to me, we're going to make sure that for every hairdo you can only charge a maximum of $40 for hairdo. If you want to do mani and pedi, it's $10 maximum, right? Okay. For the mechanics out there, where every car break down, for a hair job, you can only charge no more than $60. For oil change, it's $15 maximum. Okay. And so this is what they basically doing. And so when you're looking at, if you're a bakery, everybody has a birthday every day. And because the pressure is on, you can only charge $15 per cake. That's the mark. That's all you can charge. And so don't just look at the retail association, just look at private sector. Don't tell me how much I could charge for my cake. You don't know the specialties I've learned to make my cake. You understand? Don't tell me how much I could charge to do hair. I'm trained to do hair. I'm trained to do manicure and pedicure. And it's what I think my service is worth. And so the question is, how do you charge in business and marketing? Is it whatever the market can bear? So if the market can bear me charging $75 for my cake, then that's the price. If they could bear it. Now, if they can't bear it, then they ain't gonna buy it.
Right.
And then you'll have to be forced to drop your price. But if the market can bear it, if somebody goes into Super Value and the corned beef is $5, then ain't nobody can buy it. Then Super Value is either corned beef on the shelf, rotten. Then they decide, okay, it may be wise for me to bring the price down. You understand? So that's how price is determined on the international market. Now, in the U.S., I know that the U.S. have a unspoken, wholesale retail markup, which is about 35%. It's an unspoken rule. It's not a law, but it's unspoken. So if I sell products to Walmart, right, and they unspokenly, they expected to add a 35 to 40% markup. I'm not sure what the formula is here in the Bahamas, but it's a different scenario because, of course, you have all of the different charges and shipping charges, and then they tag this environmental levy fee and this fee and that fee. And so it's different for the Bahamas and the rest of the world.
Right.
But at the end of the day, though, the government have to be very careful when you're walking down this road because, all the lawyers out there who may be listening to me now, if the government reach out and say, well, listen, this is the prices that you could only charge for incorporation. If international business doing business in the Bahamas, you can't charge that amount. You can only charge $50 for this, $10 for that. It's not just one, it's just all private sectors. When you start one, do you then reach out to all of them and say, this is what needs to be done because you think that the cost of living is down? And then you really get to the lowest common denominator in this whole equation. Why are people suffering? Because everybody's broke. We've been saying this for years and years and years. Why is everybody broke? Because why? We've created a system where we don't provide access to wealth to Bahamians. We talk about the global e-commerce market. Bahamians can't benefit in the global e-commerce market, right? Hard to get access for wealth for private for your business startup. It's hard to get access to be able to if you need to borrow money to grow your business. It's hard. I know that the Bahamas Development Bank is a government-owned, but that has been bastardized by politicians for many years. They ain't got no money now because over the years, the politicians hooked themselves up, took all the money out, and there's no more money for the common man. And so really and truly, we have not built a society where Bahamians can grow and flourish and prosper. 90% of everybody got less than $300 in the bank. Yeah, they can get shelled. And so, because what happened? The politicians who trying to create this legislation created this system where we can't grow. They put us in this box and we can't flourish out of that box. And so for us now, we have to open up the gateway. Central banks need to make sure that we can now get access to the global e-commerce market. I tell you why. I'll say it again. I sell books on Amazon. When Amazon sell my books and I want my money, they can't send my money to my bank account, right? In the Bahamas. But when my children want to buy stuff on my Amazon account, Amazon can take money from my bank account and take it into their bank account. So there's no bi-directional flow of currency. It's only an asymmetrical. It can go out from us to them, but it can't go from them to us. And so in order for the average Bahamian to be able to benefit, we need to make sure open up the gateway so the money can come in to the Bahamas. Then we wouldn't have all of this hemming and hawing about money because, if everybody had money, then, if prices go up by 2 or 3 points, then, we'd be able to afford that. We may be groaning with it, But when nobody have any money, 90% of the bank holders don't have no money. Scotiabank closed down in the Family Islands because what? Well, you know, money is in them accounts. Royal Bank and them, they cutting down on their bank, their branches, because why? The bank accounts don't have no money in it. And so we've built a society where nobody got any money. And that's 50 years as an independent nation. So we have a country that don't have no money. Then the people in the country ain't got no money. And so at the end of the day, the reason why we feel this blow so heavily is because really and truly, we ain't got nothing. That's the fundamental problem.
And that's by design as far as you're concerned.
Everything is by design.
For the most part.
If you want your people to be successful, you have to strategically design that. It has to be a strategy. If you did not do that, then that is by design as well too. And so the 10%, the people who are benefiting from everything in this country, you look at who they are. They either been associated with a political party, their family members have been in politics, they have been a part of what we call the freedom fighters, the ones who liberated the Bahamas in 67. Those ones, all of them are rich. Most of them are rich. Not all of them, some of them are rich. And so why is it that they could set themselves up? Why is it that their families are set up for a lifetime? Why didn't you take that opportunity to open up the gateways to transfer wealth to the average Bahamian, the man in East Street who's sitting down listening to us right now, who figured out how in the hell he can eat tomorrow? But then now you are Mr. Politician now. You got in there broke. You came in there broke. We saw you broke. You made your public disclosure. You only had no money. When you exit, you have millions of dollars. How does that work? You understand? And so it is by design, you know, because it's this all for me, baby kind of thing, that it's only for me because I'm in this thing. I'm in it for me. And we don't care about the small man. We talk about the small man, but we use the small man for votes. The small man is a great block for votes. We will say, oh, we can do this for the small man, the small man. A successful politician who have created a society that is successful don't have no small man in it. You understand? But when you could boast about the small man, that means we are constantly failing. Why do we still have a small man after 50 years in as the dynamic economy as the Bahamas? When you have 10% of Bahamians perhaps have more than $10 billion or more plus. You understand?
Yeah.
And so something is fundamentally wrong because all of the money keep going upstream, but nothing coming downstream. And those who are upstream are the politicians. And this is why George Orwell says, you know, all Bahamians are created equal, but some Bahamians are more equal than others. That means the access to wealth for them, but not for the average Bahamian.
Very deep. We have to take a commercial break. On the other side of the break, though, I am going to play, I don't want to say devil's advocate because I won't be an advocate for the devil. But the thing is this, the Prime Minister and his team would argue that we have done some things to try to make it easier for the business persons to operate. We have, dropped VAT on certain items. We have done certain things, but the business people don't seem to be passing those savings on. We've dropped customs duties on many items, but we don't see a drop in prices. Think about it. Let's talk about it on the other side of the break. We're going to take this break, and when we come back, we're going to continue the conversation with Cassius Stuart here on GPS.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, tints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here, along with Cassius Stuart. And we are looking from the business perspective at this ongoing debate as it relates to the economy and these new restrictions that are being placed on businesses as it relates to price controls, specifically the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association and the Bahamas Retail Grocers Association, who are being impacted now. But according to my guest, Cassius Stuart, that should be an indication of what could possibly come in the future for other industries and sectors as well. The telephone numbers to call if you want to be a part of this discussion, 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line to send us a text message, and text messages only, is 801-0271, 801-0271. So this back and forth between the government and the associations mentioned came to a head when the Pharmaceutical Association members decided to withdraw their services just for a day. And that sent panic waves throughout the country. People were like, oh my God, what happens if I urgently need my medication? I don't have access to it. That prompted both sides to speak out. We hear in this clip from Minister Halkitis as well as members of the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association. I'll take it from here, Jason, giving their view as to why we've come to this place. Take a listen to this.
We can understand if someone says we need some time, we're working towards it, but we need time for full implementation. What we will not countenance is someone saying, I will not obey the law.
Halkitis also putting his foot down as it relates to pharmacy operators withdrawing their services from the public on short notice. The association advised its members to temporarily close their doors starting today to avoid being in discompliance with the law and subsequently paying fines. This as the changes to the price control list is being enforced as of today.
We would be fully within our rights to have enforced from the 17th of October. Right. We said that we will not enforce, expecting that there, when you say consultation, we expected there to be a move towards implementation so that when we do come to enforce, we may be able to say there's not complete implementation, but there's an effort being made.
Meanwhile, members of the association gathering outside the office of the Prime Minister to voice their concerns about the changes to the price control list. And according to Association President Shantia McBride, there was a lack of consultation.
When we met with Minister Halkitis, we were under the assumption that now our consultation period begins. 2 working days later, I would say, he came back and stated to the public that he's enforcing this act, this amendment, November 1st. So at that time, our recommendations did not even reach government yet.
But to that, here's what Halkitis has to say.
That does not mean that we stop or we freeze, because that is the danger when we use this word consultation. And you see what happens. We get in this seemingly endless back and forth.
McBride, however, maintaining that the association was blindsided by the enforcement. And at this point, she's concerned about the impact it's going to have on the pharmaceutical industry.
Based on those margins, we can't afford to close tomorrow. So if those margins are to continue, even if they're saying for 3 months, some of our small pharmacies may close. And we can't have that for big or small pharmacy right now. And if a small pharmacy closed, that's maybe 1 or 2 jobs. But a big pharmacy, that's possibly 10 to 20, wholesaler, much more.
Barbara Wilson, director of a local pharmaceutical wholesaler, is also suggesting that pharmacies are being targeted.
The government is one of the biggest procurers of drugs. They have already put in place a way for persons who cannot afford drugs to get them. You can get drugs free at any government clinic and any government hospital. And then there's the National Insurance Prescription Plan that many elderly people and persons who fall into the category can achieve. So I'm not sure why we are going this route after the pharmacists and wholesalers have already stretched themselves so much to coincide with these demands.
But here's government's explanation as to why they're moving forward with the enforcement, despite both parties not being on the same page.
The public needs relief. And, as I said earlier, number one, the amendments were made October 17th. I met with in the case of the pharmacists, Friday before last, right? They sent me a letter. I understand it was supposed to come to me on the Monday. It got to me on they were supposed to send it on the Monday. They sent it on the Thursday. Be that as it may, you get the letter. You need time to understand it, consult with your technical people, consult with other colleagues before you give a formal response.
All right, so clearly that report was filed on the 1st of November, which is the day that the members of the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association had them close their pharmacies for 1 day. All right, so getting back to our discussion with Cassius, I've heard it said, Cassius, that, we reduced or eliminated the customs duties on some items. We reduced the VAT on some items, but yet you walk into the stores and you don't see any reduction in price. So it's, as far as they're concerned, unfair to suggest that the government isn't doing anything to help businesses. The question is, are the businesses passing that on to the consumers?
I mean, it's a very good question. And I think, we need to have checks and balances in that stead to make sure that if we reduce the duty on corned beef to 0, then, the corned beef prices should not be going up. It should not be going up.
Right.
I mean, I was in the food store the other day and, it was a very interesting experience because the prices are high. Grappled with the fact that, I've been talking for the last year that a 20-foot container normally costs $3,000 to bring in.
Mm-hmm.
It jumped from $3,000 to $25,000 just for one
container?
One 20-foot container. That's not the 40-foot container.
How much?
From $3,000 to $25,000. Okay?
Wow.
That's the cost to ship products in. And so for me, we had to suspend all shipping because, when you're bringing in, when the cost of your shipping is more than the cost of the commodities, it don't make sense even bring them in.
Yeah.
Because who can pay for them?
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things that everybody in the Bahamas who bring products in was struggling with. I still didn't bring no products in because I couldn't afford it. $25,000. And normally, we'd have an arrangement where they would ship it, and when the stuff you send it the balance, they send you the BL. They want that $25,000 up front.
Because they know it's a chance you might not be in business in 30 days.
You understand? And so that's one of the main struggle that many, in particular Super Value, all these growers, everybody who bring in containers, we got beat bad over the last year and a half. Right after COVID, they slam us down, right? So we're still grappling with it. Prices are coming down gradually now. We're starting to see some ease in the market, right? But so that's one of the issue. But then also too, you have the cost of living in terms of electricity costs going up.
Mhm.
So you're saying the number one factor that most businesses face in terms of operating expense is their utility bills, light bill, because you're burning air conditioner and light, right? And sometimes businesses find themselves where their light bill is higher than their rent.
I've experienced that.
Yes.
Back in the day when I owned a business, yeah.
And so what happens is that you find yourself being strangled by the electrical company. The government is now saying that is even going up further. So if you keep that going up, that means your operating expenses going up. Yes, you give me some margins here on duty, but you also increasing my cost because you're increasing the electricity cost. And so you got to understand that it all balances back out to the same thing. If you're saying that, listen, we're going to reduce the electricity costs, we're going to reduce the duty, then we should see some deflation in prices.
Right.
But you can't reduce one and increase one and expect some kind of magical wand to happen. It doesn't happen that way. Because where I picked up here, I lost here.
Right.
And so it's a balancing act, though. But like I said, the best thing for the government to do in this regard, and I don't like Michael Alkida's tone.
All right. Stick a pin on that because we have a caller on the line. Let's talk about that after the call. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good day, Michelle. How you doing today?
Great. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Cassius.
Yes, sir.
JT here, buddy. How you doing, man?
Excellency, man. How are you?
Boy, bless you. Thank God for life.
Praise the Lord.
I was going to listen, but boy, every time I try to listen, Michelle, you or your guest say something to get me all excited, and I just got to call in.
You just can't help yourself, JT. Stop that.
Well, I've been gifted by God with something called,
you can't help yourself.
The willingness to contribute. So I try. I try, but it is what it is. What jumps out at me is the comment you guys were making a while ago about merchants not passing savings down to the customers. Now, Cassius, as you just mentioned just now, let me first start off by being fair to the merchants. I do appreciate the fact that if the merchants are being given a reduction on say item A, but they're having to raise their cost on item B, then whatever savings they may have gotten on one end may have been canceled out by the cost hike on the other. I got that. I understand that. But what concerns me, and I noticed this a lot with gas, for example, but not only gas. When gas prices go up, the merchants are quick to raise them. When they're coming down, they are slow, or slower than usual or normal, to lower them. The thing that I heard from somebody in the computer industry some months ago said to me that a lot of their colleagues, whenever their colleagues are given customs duties reduction on whatever in the computer industry, a lot of them are intentionally never going to pass on that savings to the customer, no matter how fair and balanced operational costs may be to them. They will never pass it on. You know why? Because in allegedly and in many instances, I understand a lot of business owners are interested in is making as big a profit margin on the backs of the consumer as they can. So my question to you, Cassius, while the government must do its part, and I support you on that, and while sometimes it's hard for the merchants to give a reduction when they're constantly being pressured with price hikes, what must be done now, when things are fair and balanced and the economy is thriving and everything is reasonable, what must be done? Must be done in order for these merchants to pass on the savings to the consumers. Because for me, that's why a lot of Bahamians shop abroad now. Because too many merchants in this country, when things are good, they constantly refuse to pass on savings to the Bahamian customer. So that's why more and more people ran to the States and started shopping, and that's why more and more merchants were crying out for Bahamians to shop at home. But I'm not going to shop at home if constantly I'm going to be, quote unquote, put at a disadvantage by the merchant who always only want to make a high profit.
Okay,
I'll hang up and I'll listen.
so let's let him respond. Yeah,
I'll hang up and listen. Thanks.
We have another caller waiting. Go ahead, Cassius.
In business, first of all, you got to realize that I was thinking as you was talking, how do I answer this question? And one of you talking about the merchants passing or dumping heavy loads on the consumers. When you walk into Walmart, you can go on their app or take an app and point it at any product, and then you could find a way to get it cheaper. And so because of that, then whether it's $1 cheaper, 50 cents cheaper, you can go somewhere else and get it. Because of that, that forces the market forces to play fair. You see? And so, and this is why we need competition in the market. My issue is not the fact I don't have an issue with, I do have an issue with sometimes some of the prices are very high. I have an issue with that. Don't get me wrong. My issue is that when the government decide to put their hand in the private sector, where does it end? I was thinking about a kid of fish. I want a kid of fish, but I want to know if the government could provide me some relief on the kid of fish because they do high for me. I want to know if the government can tell the fishermen that, listen, you could only sell a kid of fish for $75, not $175, because right now it's a burden on me. And so does the government powers then reach over to the fisherman because I want my kid of fish? And then, I like my grouper as well too, but you can't sell me grouper because you ain't got no electricity cost, you get a little gas cost, but you don't have no overhead, so at least you should be able to provide some ease for us as consumers as well too. So my point is, where does it end though? You understand? So my issue is, yes, there is high prices in the food store. Could they ease some of the margins? Yes, they can ease some of the margins. But the best way to ask them to ease the margins is not by bullying them. It's by negotiating with them. You see? Because the private sector is private for a reason. Because the minute the government starts to put their hand in one sector, we're going to demand that you put your hand in another sector, in another industry. I need the fishing industry now. I need the cosmetic industry not to be so high.
I have a question to spin off on what you just said, but we have a caller waiting. So let's take the call first and then we can come back to that point. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, Michelle, and good afternoon, Mr. Stuart.
Hi.
How you doing?
I trust that you all are doing well.
We are well. How are you?
Good, thanks.
I'm okay. But Cassius, Mr. Stuart, I hear you on this tangent. I heard you last night when you make the point about Mr. Alquidas. But before I get to that, at the end of the day, you say about government and getting in private businesses' affairs, right?
Yes, ma'am.
The majority of private entities, including the hotel sector, they get concessions. They get something back from the government. And isn't the government job, because your aspiration once upon a time, I don't know how it is, what it is now, was to enter frontline to lead this country. The interest of the government, it's for the best. They act on the best interest of the people, right?
Can we have an engagement? Can we talk?
No, I said, right?
I mean, can I engage you whilst we talk?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, go on. No, go on. Make a statement.
Okay, yes, because that's the bottom line. Okay, that's the bottom line. Now, when Mr. Alcides, I listened, and we all did, the majority of us listened to what he said and his tone. I don't know what, when you say you don't like his tone, he's not, Mr. Davis should be the one dealing with this situation. Mr. Davis should be, Alcides is not an elected member of parliament. He does not have a constituency. Mr. Alcides' constituency is the Commonwealth, the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. He was given an assignment, he was given a responsibility to play his role where he is at. He has he's getting paid to do what he's doing. And when you're going to have persons who need, like I said, the negotiations, I understand all of that, and I'm happy that they're coming to some sort of discussions or whatever have you. When you
can I interject? You have a are you a business owner?
I was.
You was a business owner. You're not.
Yes.
You're employed.
I am self-employed. I am privately, I'm doing my own thing.
Okay, so you are doing your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're doing your own thing, you're self-employed. Whatever services you provide, you price that. How do you price that service?
Listen, all these, you like to go into the nuances of business. See, like you said, you're here from the perspective of the business.
No, I'm just asking you a question.
I don't need you to ask me this particular question.
You want to ask me a question, you want me to ask you a question?
My issue,
how do you price your service? It's a simple question.
I heard you yourself decry the prices of certain things.
How do you price your service? That's a simple question. How do you price your service for the general public to get access to you?
You price your service based on what on the bottom line is profit. You price it based on the goods, the services that you offer.
Okay.
Your expertise that you offer.
So now you're pricing your service. Let's just say you offer, I guess, counseling for whatever product, hypothetically, right? Counseling.
Yeah,
and you charge $150.
Mm-hmm.
The government says that, listen, there are a lot of people in the country who need counseling, but because inflation, because the price is down, you cannot charge $150. You can only charge $50. Mm-hmm. What would you say to the government?
We will, like I said, you sit down, you say, but okay, this is what I am up against. This is why I cannot take off a certain percentage, and this is why, right?
And so
the government comes back and says, well, okay, you're still going to have to work with us.
And so my position was...
Because at the end of the day, the people are the ones who are in need. So the government doesn't go to the doctors and say, you have to charge a certain amount of
stick a pin right there. So let's go. Don't go too far. Okay. So you will say to the government, okay, this is what I can do because, this is what I'm up against, right?
Right.
Didn't I not say that the government should not bully them by creating legislation and forcing them, but instead of coming to the table and negotiating with them?
But did I not? But yes or no? Did I not? You use this word. You throw this word bullying around so loosely. What do you mean bullying?
Okay, let me not throw it around loosely.
Dictating then.
Let me not throw it around loosely.
Or dictating.
Right. Yeah, let me not throw it around loosely.
The people look to the government for relief. When you see people have to go to the food stores and paying for all these things,
you still not answering my question.
Going on these prices when the things rotting.
You still not answering my question.
No, I answered your question.
And to both of you, we have a cell phone call.
This is not an emotional thing. Here's what I'm saying, right? If the government wants relief for the people, when it comes to the private sector, the best way to move forward is to negotiate, not to pass legislation and forcing them to reduce their profit margins. Because the way the government can't tell you who offering a service that this is the only thing you could charge, you can't do that.
But the government
it has never worked. It has never worked nowhere in the world. The economy's collapsed.
The BPL went up, right? Didn't the hotel owners association go and sit down with the board trying to negotiate or trying to work on some relief?
I don't know anything
after
about
that.
I don't know anything about
that. Right? They just had a meeting this week.
You're talking about the meeting with BPL.
The people, instead of shutting the country down on persons who need these medications, to shut down completely and whatever. To me, that is the bottom line. That is why I'm so emotional, Cassius.
But they are arguing, though, that they did attempt to do that, but got no timely response from the government. So that's why they made that decision to do that.
Yeah, no, but you don't, because some people get so hard, two pills left. Persons who need asthmatic, you don't just shut down to the public. I understand your bottom line. I understand their point.
But the
because
point,
the ladies, the persons who are represented, they represented well.
but if I was in the government, the first thing I would have done was to say, listen, okay, y'all do not shut down. Let's talk.
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
let's talk. We ain't got to argue. We ain't got to row. Let's talk. Let's see how that everybody can be happy in the situation. But the government's tone is, we ain't moving, and this is what it is, and we can find y'all. And so what happened is, when you negotiate, you can't come with a big stick. You know, they seem to have this big stick they want to whop somebody with. Don't do that.
All
Let me
right.
tell you something.
Caller, I gotta let you go.
Decisions,
Caller, I gotta let
sometimes-
you go because we have a cell phone caller who's been
Yeah,
waiting
but
for
okay,
quite a
but
while.
we'll talk again, Mr. Stewart.
All right, thanks for calling. I hope that other caller is still there. Caller, you still there?
Yes, yes. Good day.
Hi, welcome to the show.
I think I heard him said that freight import, the container bringing in, said going from 3,000 to 25,000.
For a 20-foot container.
All right. So then that means then the importers or these containers is what's really driving up the price. Could they do something to control them?
Well, the problem really lied, and 90% of all the world containers came out of China.
Yeah, that's not coming from within
And
the
that's not
Bahamas.
that's not. So what happened was, because China
But
is
we
saying,
got one family that own all the containers, eh?
listen, no. 90% of all the world containers comes out of China. The problem is, China was saying that there was a shortage on containers because when they ship containers out, the containers don't come back. In other words, they're held hostage in somebody's backyard, somebody making a room out of the containers. And so there was a shortage on containers, which forced the price up.
So, but then you still, all right, so is it not true then that all the importers, it's really a manipulation going on, that they have it cornered, the market cornered on importing?
No. There's no market corner. You could bring whatever you want to bring in tomorrow if you want to bring it in. We're free.
No, I mean, and
it's a
I'm
free
saying,
economy.
the containers.
No,
they all coming through one company, eh?
No, well, there are several companies that bring in there. MSC, there's Tropical,
all right, then.
there's
I
MSC
wrong
and Tropical, but it has nothing to do with that, because we're not the only ones shipping into the U.S. Normally, to ship a 20-foot container into the U.S. was what, $4,000. Now that was what, $8,000-9,000. The U.S. is having the same problem as well too, and so the world is having the problem. It's not relegated to I mean, I understand what he's trying to get at.
Yeah.
There's a certain people who own the port.
Right.
And,
That's another show altogether.
That's another show altogether. I agree with you on that. But that ain't have nothing to do with them. Now, when the container comes in, their fees are tacked onto that.
Right.
So that $25,000 plus whatever they charge is additional.
Mhm.
You see? So, but that has nothing to do with it.
So let me ask you this. I hear the argument that you're making. However, when it comes to certain types of businesses that provide essential services, like food, like medicine, should another set of rules apply to them than apply to the person who's selling a luxury item, or, in other words, item that you don't need to have, you don't have to have? I don't have to buy a luxury watch. I don't have to buy a brand new car. I mean, unless, but my point is, there are some items that I can't do without. Should the same rules apply to those businesses as do to the others?
I mean, we can have an argument over that point. Okay, these are essential items. Food is essential item versus getting your hair done is not essential item.
Right.
However, you got to understand that, there is no some people say the government doesn't subsidize the pharmacies. If I decide to go into a pharmacy tomorrow, I have to come up with my money for medication. I have to come up with my money for a real, open up my office. I got to come up with everything and to get my business started. The government doesn't provide any break nowhere because you're essential. There's no such thing as essential in the eyes of government to this business. You pay the same taxes, you pay the same duty, you pay the same thing.
Should
right?
the government start to look at them as essential and worthy of concessions?
But then the argument then comes in. Okay, if you are considering us essential, then what other concessions can you offer us?
That's my question. Should we be looking at that?
But it is a conversation to be had. I'm not sure what the answer is, but it's a conversation to be had. In other words, okay, then how do you now paint this picture? Because, what do you do for the pharmacies? Do you allow them to bring everything in duty free, no taxes, no VAT, so that the people can get served? They're allowed to make a 20-30% profit markup on it. They happy, government happy, people happy. It's a conversation to be had. I don't know the answer to it. My issue is that you have to walk a very, very, very delicate walk when you stepping over into the private sector, because countries have tried it before and the whole country collapsed. That's my argument. My argument is you cannot force private sector to pay or charge what you want them to charge as the government. Or else, why don't you get into business? Why don't the government open up its own pharmacy then charge what they want to charge? Why don't the government open up their own food store then and charge what they want to charge? You understand? So that's where we're going. And so for me, it's you got to be sensible. And I know people who don't have a business may not see this perspective, but if one day you decide to open up a business and you want to go sell your, I guess, ice cream on the side of the road, and the government say, listen, you can only sell that ice cream for 50 cents. I know you want to sell it for $3, but you can only sell it for 50 cents because things tough. Then you can say, well, I only making 25 cents on this. I wanted to make $1.25 because I got to pay my mommy, I got to pay my daddy, I got to help my sister in school, and so on. So you don't know what these people's bills are. Yeah, they're making money. It's not a crime to make money. We're in a capitalistic society. When people make money, we're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to be we're supposed to be happy when people make money. If the people who ain't doing nothing, who ain't making money, that we're supposed to be sad at. And so we have this thing where we want to punish people for being successful. There was a man who was called Jesus Christ. He gave one man 10 talent, one talent, and one 10, 1 5 and 1. You know what he did to the one who gave 1? Who he said he hid it and did nothing with it? He said, 10. Get away from me, you wicked servant. But the one who had 10, who multiplied it into 10, he said, come. You see, come unto me. Right. And so what we do in a society is that for people who are reproducing and making their lives productive and producing and making more from what they had, then we want to scorn them for that. No, that's a devilish thinking. God don't think that way. God says, if I give you 1 and you do nothing with that 1, you're a wicked and slothful servant.
Well, I think a reason why we have that kind of attitude, Cassius, is because another way to look at that whole argument is what kind of advantages did those people have going in that are not equal to all? I remember watching a video some time ago of this was an experiment to show people what privilege looks like. And they had a bunch of people at a starting line for a race. And then they said, okay, everybody who is white, take 5 steps forward. Okay. Everybody who has a college degree, take another 5 steps forward. And they did this like 4 times with 4 different things. So at the end of the day, before the race even started, you had some people who were very close to the finish line, and then you got another set who back at the starting position, and then they shoot the gun.
Yeah, but you see, Michelle, sometimes when it comes to personal success, I think somehow we use these scenarios as a safety net for failure. I grew up in Balls Alley, Camp Road, 23 of us inside one house, right? I'm a product of public school. I went to Uriah McPhee, I went to Donald Davis, I went to R.M. Bailey. I was doing everything wrong, everything bad, selling everything I don't supposed to sell. I was trying to get kicked out of school until I decided the light came on in grade 11 that I want to better my life. I met Miles Monroe then. And so for me, I decided to pick myself up. My mother never knew I was going to college. I flew to Miami myself. I registered. I brought back the bill and said, Mommy, I registered for school. I need you to pay the school fee for me. She's like, what school? And so sometimes we negate these personal responsibility and we expect that if I do nothing with my life, the government could take care of me. That's not what's supposed to happen. You have a responsibility to make your life better. All of us. But we have governments that always try to say that, we will take care of you and we'll take care. No, we want everybody to excel on this ladder of success. You think it's easy for me? When I went to college, I had to budget $5 for the month. I had nothing to eat, but I went to school every day. I had to go borrow my friend's book because I couldn't afford a book. The book was $90. I couldn't afford that. Only because I could talk and I was able to get in the cafeteria and eat. But for me, it was either go home, don't do no degree, or tug through this. no food to eat, and I did it.
So in other words, you didn't let lack of privilege be an excuse for you.
You understand? It's no excuse. You know, I did my 4-year degree with no money. Sometimes my mother sent me money. The only thing left was $10. I had to go turn the sofa over to find 1 cent to go catch the bus to school sometime in the cold. So don't tell me you can't do it. I graduated from university with no money. You understand? And so for me, I wanted to make myself better. But you see, people who want to punish you because you're successful now, they never know your story. They always figure you were born this way. When I came home from school, I had ulcers problem because I ain't had nothing to eat.
Wow.
You understand? So people don't know your story. They don't know the hell, the hardship you're going through. They don't know, but they figure, oh, you're making money, you big time. But listen, let me tell you something, young. People, you see those people, those grocers, you see those people in those retail farmers. Don't ever judge nobody until you know their story. Even still now, you see their business running. Many people who run in business now running in the red, running in overdraft. And so you tell them, oh, you're making, you don't know what they're dealing with.
Yeah.
And so we got to be very, very careful though, because we want to demonize people for wanting to be productive, for wanting to move in the right direction. That is not the right way to do it. People who are striving, who are trying to climb the ladder of success, help them, cheer them on. Oh, you're making all kind of money, you're all greedy. No. That's not the attitude to have. Yes, there are greedy people in the world. Yes, there are people. But for us, we got to make sure when people who are striving, make sure we cheer them on. And those who are not moving, let's try to help everybody move forward.
Do you have time for one more caller? Because I know you got to go to pick up a child from school.
One more. Yeah, we could.
Jason, is that a caller or what? Yeah, caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, Michelle. How you doing?
Great, how are you?
I'm okay. Good afternoon, Cassius.
Good afternoon, sir.
How you doing, sir?
Great, sir.
Hey, Michelle. I only called to let you know that you have a great show, because the other day when I called and told you about that stuff going on Bay Street, the following day it was turned off and it's okay now.
Great, thank you so much. I'm glad that we were able to assist you.
They're listening, you know, you have a good show, man.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All
have
right.
a good day.
Okay, well, I guess he doesn't have a question for you, Cassius. So since you gotta go, you gotta go.
Well,
right?
I got 30 minutes.
You got 30 more minutes. We've been blessed, y'all. All right, so let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue this conversation with Cassius Stuart from the businessman's perspective. You know, all these prices going up. How is that affecting the businessman and woman in this country? And I also have another question, because we have some business people who have some issues with the minimum wage increase. What does that mean exactly? Why are they concerned that an increase in minimum wage could also have a negative impact on their business? This is GPS. We're going to continue in a moment. Stay with us, and we'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, mud, all-terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Boy, look, if y'all could hear some of these conversations that take place during the break, they better than what actually make it to the air.
Boy, yes, he should come on the air. You should bring him on the air.
My guest today is Cassius Stuart. We're talking about the businessman's perspective of this whole impasse between the government of the day and the business owners, specifically the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association and members of the Bahamas Retail Grocers Association, who are busy in negotiations trying to figure out a way that everybody will be happy at the end of the day as it relates to price control. So here now is the latest from the Attorney General on where we are at with those negotiations.
We look forward to an announcement later today on a final position with respect to price control on drugs. Having said that, we recognize that all of the categories listed in the regulations will be enforced. And again, like I said, in fact, those categories will be expanded on mutual agreement and cooperation. So I just want to provide you and the Bahamian people that update. Things are progressing well, and we're working certainly in cooperation with the private sector. Questions?
I don't know if y'all heard what the man said just now, but it sounded to me like they got more items to this, what you say is already a very large list.
It's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope. And the person who may be listening to this, who is a consumer now, may be an entrepreneur tomorrow. And where will this web or this net, how far will this be cast? Because we got to be very careful. I would like for them to put some price caps on these legal services too, all these lawyers who are making all these laws. You know, when the poor man come for help, they need to put some price caps on their services too. But I guarantee you they will never, ever do that, because the poor man does need, as a necessity, access to legal advice as well too. You know, is that an essential services too? Can we get these lawyers to reduce their rates and by government legislation? You understand? So at which point does it stop? You know, while they are protected to be able to charge, you know, $5,000 to come and talk with them, or $500 an hour, whatever. You know, can we then get legislation to say, listen, you can't charge me $500 an hour. The maximum you could charge me is $50 an hour. Which law firm you know would agree with that? You understand? And so for me, while they're free to charge whatever they want to charge, then you got to be very careful how you casting this net over a few businesses in the private sector, because you are also a part of the private sector. Brave Davis have a law firm. The Attorney General has a law firm. Michael Alkitis is an accountant. You know, when I go to an accountant to get my book work done, Can I therefore then put price caps on what he could charge me because I need my VAT done? That's a necessity. I need to submit my VAT, my receipts, but I can't pay, sir, your $5,000 to do that. Can I only charge me $150 for that? And so for me, it's a slippery slope.
Yeah. Well, I have to tell you, as a former retail business owner, I often say to people, I never will walk into your business and look at an item and say, why is it so expensive? Because if I got asked you that question, clearly I in the wrong shop. Right?
Yep.
So what happens is a lot of times people go into the wrong shop. You go into a shop where you can't afford what there, and then you won't catch feelings with the owner of the shop because their thing's too high for you.
That's right.
So I would always say, maybe you're in the wrong store.
So go in the hotel and try and buy something and see what the numbers are.
You know?
You understand? And so
You can't walk in a Mercedes shop and get vexed if you only got Kia money.
Precisely. And so, it's I just wanted to hope. I hope the show, open up the eyes of the people. It's not about being greedy. It's understanding that the private sector is separate from the public sector.
I got your point.
And I'm repeating it because there are people who still don't get it. One day you may have a private business. When the government can control your private business, that's how communist countries and socialist countries work.
But when it comes to something like minimum wage, though, Cassius, I know a lot of business people who have a problem even with that.
All business people have a problem with that. Because all business, let me tell you something. The bottom line is in business, how do you reduce your expenditures, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the main line items on operating expense is salaries.
Mhm.
Okay, and so when you're increasing that, it becomes an issue for businesses because businesses don't understand what I'm trying to formulate this book called the ROI of employees, the return of investment of employees. So if
Right.
I'm paying you $500 a week, am I getting more than $500 worth of production out of you?
Right.
Am I breaking even or losing on you?
Mhm.
You understand? And so employees need to realize that, listen, when you come to me for a job, this ain't no charitable organization. You're coming to me and I'm paying you an agreed amount. But I'm wanting you to produce that amount plus more so that at least I have a return on my investment every week. The challenge we're having is that everybody on their phone all day, everybody texting all day, and so they ain't producing what they're supposed to produce. And so the challenge is that how do you pay these people when they ain't doing nothing? You hire them to work, and you're not getting what you deem necessary out of the amount you agreed to pay them for. And so that too needs to be fixed in this country. A spirit of excellence is what is needed across the board, from employees to employer. In other words, for those who looking for a job, when you go on demand work, go on demand work. Put your phone aside, hide your phone, hide your WhatsApp because I know it, hide your TikTok because I know it's tempting. Because what it does is it reduces what they call it? No productivity in the workplace.
Right.
And as a business owner, I want to know that at the end of the day, I'm getting what I'm paying for. We are confused into believing that, we're supposed to hire them because we have a business. No, that's not how it works. And so, we have to insist as a nation, though, whatever sector we're in, whatever area we're in, we do it with excellence. And excellence means that we go to work from 9 to 5 and we do our job from 9 to 5. From 5 on, then we play. You don't go to work from 9 to 5 and you play from 9 to 4. And you understand? And so that is, and even in the public sector, we have that characteristics where people figure I'm paid and pensionable, I ain't got to work because I work for government. So we all know the theory, you work for government, you ain't got to work. But that's not it. If the government is paying you $500 a week, you're supposed to give the government $500 worth of work every week.
We have a call on the line. Call, welcome to GPS.
Yes, hi, Michelle.
Go ahead, we're listening.
Yeah. I hear what he's saying as a business person, right? But he's also a consumer. And there are two sides of this coin. If you are righteous, and just how you describe about the biblical truth about what Jesus said. There's also a flip side to that, where he warned merchants not to mess with their weights, which is monkeying around with the cost of things and go into the negative, or not the negative in terms of cost, but the negative in terms of overshooting their cost. But to go back to where I originally was starting off with, in this country, maybe other countries, because of their size of populace and business quotas or percentages of business spread, it may be different. But in this country, we must admit that we have monopolies. We have certain businesses that basically own a certain area, where there's only about 2 or maybe at most 3 ownerships, even if they have boards. And then there are businesses that maybe a little bit more in offering the same service. But I'm aware of a sector of business that actually tried to get together as a monopoly and control price. Meaning that if you look at, for instance, the gas stations, they're getting their fuel. I don't know how they spread their fuel. If they're like the Chinese who get bulk and then divide it and they don't compete against each other. They just use that as leverage to put other businesses out of business because they could set their price to the lower side. But when you deal with businesses that come together and decide they're going to set a uniform price, and wherever the customer goes, it don't matter, they can get their money.
Call that collusion. They call that price collusion.
That's the type of monopoly. I'm not saying that you may be one of those. No, sir.
I'm just telling you what it's called.
I'm saying that there are righteous people who go into business who want to do business in the way that it ought to be done. In capitalism is supposed to benefit the consumer, where because of competition, it drives price down. It increases quality because people want good quality for low price. And so that gives the consumer a chance to benefit. But when you have systems like this corrupting the system of the consumer can use, there are problems. And in this country, that's all we got is clicks. All we got is areas where people is too shady. People could come in and they could decide to warp the system. And so the system is nowhere near the way it's supposed to be run. It is corrupted. And so you got consumers out there who they cannot see the gas station anywhere close to a range difference of 50 cents. They don't offer the consumer a chance to benefit. They can't see some of the supermarkets that is medium size or large, carrying prices that a consumer could go to for reasonably good quality product at an acceptable price. That is what is driving up the livelihood of this country.
Okay.
And it got to stop.
Let's let him.
Big brother got to get in some kind of how and say, look, if we give you all a reduction in all the tax that you're all mounting off with, and they could prove they're giving rejections in certain areas to benefit the consumer down the chain, and the consumer still ain't benefiting, then something wrong with the system.
Okay, let's let him respond, caller. Let's let him respond. Okay, thank you so much for calling. We get the point you're making.
Praise the Lord.
She is right. We have a broken system. And I guess I was trying to share with her that what she was explaining is called price collusion.
Or why couldn't it be called co-op?
Well, I mean, normally it's America has what they call anti-monopolistic policies where no one company can have a monopoly on any one thing.
Right.
If that is, and the government breaks that company up into different.
Because back in the day, remember when there was only AT&T?
Yeah. The government break it up when there was in a situation where Apple was in bankruptcy, and Microsoft was their only competitor. Microsoft gave Apple hundreds of millions of dollars to stay open, because if they had folded, then the government would have broken up Microsoft. So Apple paid for them to stay open, just so that there would be a competition in the market.
Right. Right.
And so when you have only one person selling the same product, then that person could charge the price, exorbitant prices. The question is, she did make a point that, righteousness and righteous government and righteous merchants, most people in the world ain't righteous. And so, if I'm the only one selling the product, I want 5,000% markup on that. That's just how they think. And so if you find somebody who may have been equitable and somebody who righteous, say, listen, I know I'm the only one, I'm going to be able to sell this for, the price where everybody can afford it. If that person was smart, they would take that last, because the more people buy it, the more products move, and so on and so on. But it's a balancing act across the board, and consumers are angry. I'm a consumer. Like I said, I went in the food store the other day to buy some grocery, and that one Charlie almost killed me.
Boy, look here. You better know where to go to shop here.
I call social service myself.
You better know where you go in the shop.
I know where I went to shop.
Because in some shops you walk in there, $50 might be for four items.
Yeah, I tell you.
And that same $50, you go in another shop and you come out with a box of things.
Listen, I mean,
you better know where you're going to shop.
I saw one lamb chop, it was $30-something. I said, my Jesus, what is this?
Listen, man. I
am aware of the prices. My question is
organic thing, right? And one food store.
Oh, if you want the organic thing, you can spend plenty of money.
And one food store, a bottle of organic maple syrup was $31 and change.
Jeez.
One bottle.
What they put in that?
Only Jesus knows. I walk in another store. I ain't calling no names because none of them to sponsor my show. I walk in another store and find that same bottle, same brand, for $15.
Listen,
where you think I buy it from? So
there are. I mean, a lot of these companies, don't get me wrong, do have enough flexibility to reduce these margins, and
some of them don't have to be as high as they are,
and still make a profit.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
My issue is, this is where the government needs to negotiate with them. I'm not saying that the prices are not high. What I'm saying is, when you get to the private sector, you have to find a way to negotiate. When you start to legislate for the private sector, because now if you decide to take this to the courts, right? Let's just say they decide to take this to the courts. Then the courts will say, listen, the law can't be for one set and not for the others. You understand? The law can't just be for me and not for you. And so if you're saying that I gotta control my prices, then if we go to the Supreme Court and say Supreme Court, then the lawyers can't charge this and the accountants can't charge this, then the Supreme Court will say, but listen, according to our law, you cannot discriminate against nobody. You can't have one set of law for one set of people and next set of law for the next set of people. Then the same thing should be for everybody. And that is what I'm saying, that the government got to be very careful, because if somebody challenges in the court, either the court will struck it down or say, listen, if you're doing it for them, you got to do it for everybody else.
Let me ask you one good question before you go. Going back to this whole question of the minimum wage, that they say they're working towards a livable wage. Listen, I get everything that you said here today about bottom line, because at the end of the day, you in business, not just for charity, but you're in business to make money. But here's the thing. If more people are making more money, wouldn't your business make more money?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And there are companies who hire significant amount of employees and they pay above minimum wage. I'm not sure who pays minimum wage. I mean, I'm not sure who pays minimum wage and who gets away with minimum wage. Right? Is the government? I don't know. But for those companies, because $210 or $20, that ain't no money. That ain't no money to. I mean, after you didn't buy grocery for 1 week, you didn't broke. You can't pay rent.
I was just gonna say, if you're renting, that's not, God forbid, you got to
can't
pay
rent.
BBL
And so
too.
that is not a livable wage.
Right.
The issue is that we have to encourage Bahamians not to shoot for the minimum wage. In other words, go to school, get that education, make yourself so attractive that you wouldn't even be considered minimum. You're trying to make $10,000 a week, but you want these Bahamians to shoot for the minimum wage. I don't want you shooting for minimum wage, because you can't survive off minimum wage.
No. So final question. I know I just said final, but it's the final. Do you think, this goes back to what we were talking about during the break, do you think a part of our problem is that this is a philosophy of a certain party? We would have heard my good friend Pia in the House of Assembly yesterday, and she said the PLP is the party of the people. I just love the way she presented that, by the way. The P is a girl.
The poor people.
But the poor people, PLP, she said, what is the F for that? What are you the party of? But from where you sit, is that a double-edged sword? Could that be turned on them because they are, in essence, creating this environment where people don't expect or aspire to more?
Yeah, I'm formulating this theory in my head, but you're preempting my theory. The preamble of the Constitution states that no woman, man, or child life should be exploited or their labor their labor exploited or their life frustrated because of deprivation.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, nobody in the Bahamas, nobody in the Commonwealth of Bahamas life should be frustrated because they're deprived, according to our Constitution, our preamble.
Right.
So that document that was handed down to us from the British government to our government, we accepted those instruments of independence. But it says that this is a promissory note to every Bahamian that your life shall never be frustrated because you are deprived, right? And then to have a political party saying that we are the party of the deprived, it's almost contradictory to the Constitution. You understand? So I'm formulating this theory in my head. I haven't finished it yet, but for us to be talking about we are the party of the small man and the poor man, after 50 years, we should not have any small man left. You understand? We are not we're not a large country. Jamaica has millions of people. We got hundreds of thousands of people. We should have found a formula that we could make most of the majority of people in the Bahamas successful. We have the capacity to do it within 1 to 2 terms, but we refuse to do it because we love the idea of making sure that we can call you small man. The reason why I can call you the small man because I can control what you eat. When I can control what you eat, I can control your life. I can control how you vote. And how you vote, I can control when you jump, when you're not jump. And so for them to glorify themselves on this small man thing is a dangerous thing, because what happened is you don't give the people the impetus to get up, to move from this small man syndrome. The PLP needs to change their mantra. It's supposed to be, we are the party of Bahamians.
Uplifting
Bahamians.
Yeah.
But when you say you're the party of the small man, that means you almost want them to be small man, because that is the reason why you exist. We want Bahamians to be successful. We want Bahamians to be proactive and productive. We want them to be rich. Basically, is it possible? Yes. There are countries in Asia where most of the people are rich. Singapore, they were poor, and Singapore gained independence in 1962. We gained independence in 1971. They moved from a peasant class.
73.
73, sorry.
Yeah.
I was born in 71. Sorry. Keep. From some 62, they moved from a peasant class to now the first world, where everybody is somehow successful.
Right.
How did they do that? Why can't it work for them and why can't it work for us? They have millions of people. We get thousands of people. We were almost 6-7 years apart from independence.
We have a head start as far as that is concerned.
And it worked for them.
Yeah.
Why can't it work for us?
Because they got a formula and we
Because
don't.
do we like to control people? We like them to vote for us. You can imagine now if everybody in the Bahamas has some degree of success. They're comfortable, not everybody comfortable. And a politician come to them talking, I don't need your money. I don't need what you give to me. Don't come give me no $50 and vote for you. I'm okay. So people begin to vote independently. And what it does, it somehow pushes these political parties away, because I don't need you, because I can make my own decision. I can make my own money. The most dangerous thing is a financially independent person. I could say what I want to say. I could do what I want to do, because I don't depend on none of y'all for nothing.
Well, you see, we could argue the same thing as you did for Singapore of China. But the big difference is they have a long-term national plan. And what Pastor Miles used to say, but if you fail the plan,
you will fail.
If you fail the plan, you plan to fail.
Yep.
So this is a big part of our problem.
Yep.
We talk about it,
Yep.
but we don't have a long-term national development plan.
Well, when I came up with a national plan 20 years ago, a 40-year plan, people called me stupid. They said I was crazy. They said I was crazy. But I know I was crazy. And
sometimes it takes crazy people to change the world.
I still am crazy, but The point I'm trying to make is that we never really planned long term, and we never planned to bring our people out of the despair. When Sir Lyndon died and he said, wipe every tear from every eye. I mean, really and truly, people are crying more now than they ever did before. So we've developed up. We've somehow wiped out the entire middle class. So Lyndon first administration was building a middle class. Then we came, the next administrations after that, and we wiped out the middle class. You know how I know that? Because 90% of all the bank account holders have less than $300 in there. That's the entire middle class. So 10% of the country is the upper class, got more than 300. The rest, there's no middle class. How do we fix that?
And as much as we love to talk about Haiti, that's a big part of Haiti problem. They have the uber wealthy and the very poor, ain't no middle.
And we have the same thing. I mean, listen, Bahamians know how we could put on a good suit and fake it. Like how I used to do in college. I just put on a suit every day.
We got it flamming.
Not a dollar in my pocket. Hungry, mouth white, because you ain't got nothing to eat. But I got on a suit. You can't tell me I ain't got it together. Nobody never knew the struggle.
You were walking in faith.
But listen, faith, I was walking faith, hope, and love.
Cassius, man.
Every day.
I appreciate you,
Always, man.
Thanks.
Always.
Because listen, he has to go because he got to go pick up his child from school. So
Sure.
I appreciate the time that you've given us.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
All right. Let's
All
take
right.
this break, and then when we come back, it's me and you guys, just us, because Cassius got to go. Let's keep talking about this, though. The telephone numbers to call are 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line for text messages only, 801-0271. Stay with us. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here in your company. Today we had Cassius Stuart on as our guest for most of the show. In case you tuned in late, and I thought he did a pretty good job about laying out the argument for the business community while they're taking issue with some of the new mandates that the government is implementing as it relates to price control and their concerns as to how these new mandates are going to impact their businesses. We started the show with an excerpt from the Prime Minister's address to the House of Assembly when he opined that everybody needs to approach this as a shared burden, talking about the economy and the inflation that the world is facing right now, and the hardship that many Bahamians are dealing with. And his point was that everybody has to share this burden, including the businesses. Well, during his national address that was held a little back, he talked about some other type of sharing. And he mentioned specifically a shared purpose. I want you to listen to this clip, and then we're going to talk about the shared purpose and how that ties into all of what we see happening now with this standoff between the government and the pharmaceutical and retail grocers associations.
I don't just want to attack the symptoms of our hardest problems. I want to attack the sources of them. And I want you to know that even though our country is finally moving in the right direction, I understand how hard it is for you still. I see you sitting in your home, your bills in front of you, wondering which one you can't postpone paying any longer. I see you worrying about how the years out of school have affected your children. I see you wondering whether you'll ever feel safe again on the streets at night. I know the obstacles we are facing are really big, but so is our people's capacity to overcome them. Every day, we are working to fulfill the commitments we made to you in our blueprint for change. Every day, we are working to build a more inclusive economy and a stronger, safer country. We can't stop hurricanes or viruses that cross our borders, or wars taking place across the world, or a global inflationary crisis. But we can build more resilience and make our country stronger. We can grow more of our own food. We can stand up for our country and fight for what is right. And we can deepen our commitment to take care of each other through all of these storms. Let's turn hardship and challenge and tragedy into shared purpose. Let's decide that we won't let big problems stop us from dreaming big for our country. Returning from San Salvador a few days ago, I looked down from the plane window and as always, wondered at the beauty of our country and felt such deep gratitude for all of its blessings. I begin tonight by speaking about Sir Lyndon and the sacrifice of his generation. Imagine the courage it required to stand up to the economic and political powers of that time. The best way for us to honor their courage today is to continually ask ourselves if we are doing enough in our time to challenge the status quo, empower our people, and move the nation forward. It is the privilege of a lifetime to be engaged in this work. And I hope you will partner with us in this national project for renewal and transformation.
Now, I find it very interesting to hear what he said in that clip compared to what we just discussed with Cassius in the studio moments ago, as it relates to giving people a hand out as opposed to a hand up. If the Davis administration, specifically the Prime Minister, are serious about what he just said in that clip, helping to empower Bahamians, is this the best way to go about doing so? I want to hear from you on this in the last 15 minutes of the show. The telephone numbers to call 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272, and the WhatsApp line for text messages only is 8010271. Matter of fact, I haven't even checked the WhatsApp messages yet for the day. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, Miss Malcolm.
Hey.
And good afternoon to your listeners. Poppy here, Miss Malcolm. You know, I don't know if it's my radio or the internet. I didn't really catch all the Cassius or when you first started, but I keep trying and I see it back in solid. So that might be my problem on my end.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. But I was trying to understand your question just now, what you really asking of us. But I just wanted to say also, I think I understand. I'm not really sure. But I wanted to say everything what I hear Mr. Davis saying just now. I don't know where he said that, if that was an House Assembly or that was...
No, that was from his national address.
From the national address from a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds a little different. Well, everything he say, I think the majority of us right-thinking Bahamians, especially the people who struggling, it sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
I like what he was saying. I think the majority of them, like I say, the people who struggling right now, they won't feel it. They won't feel it. Now, I don't know if you hear this too, or it's just a rumor. It sounds like the shop, what you call it, not merchants, the grocers.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like they saying that if the government, they trying to work something out with the government that don't do it the way they want to do it with these 38 different categories, what could help us, right?
Mm-hmm.
They saying that with the social service part, like the people who can get the social service slip, like they would either put in the 10%, with and what the people normally just have to pay still when they get the grocery, although they're using a food slip. So I think that was thinking out of the box. That could be added. Other stuff could be added. But someone else say this too, Miss Malcolm. I don't know how you feel about it, right? Maybe if the government, some people say take the white off the grocery, take the white off the medicine, but I kind of understand why they're saying you got to keep it that way. The government need revenue. Some people, them who could afford to pay it, they'll be included with that, and it shouldn't be that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think the government need to like maybe bite the bullet and get 10, 20, $30, $40 million or whatever, and try to like find different categories. Like I rate, for instance, right now they helping over the catastrophic insurance. They say they get $10 million to start that with this new national health insurance, or 0.2 or 2.0 or something like that. So
right.
I think that's a good idea too. I was thinking like this cleanup program, what they do in beautification of the Bahamas or Nassau or something. That's a good idea too, to help some people employed. But you still have these people them who can't work, who need some help, who can't afford the things so expensive in the food store. So I guess that's where the government come in to help out. But to tell you the truth, Miss Malcolm, I was kind of confused on this whole idea because I thought it was so simple. I still kind of should believe it's simple to just take the water off the medicine and the food, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of should understand. And then on this time around, I got to side with the Prime Minister. It sounded like he sounded sincere, like he really, knowing him over the years and stuff. But yeah, he's a compassionate, caring with people. I know he ain't no accountant or nothing.
Let me
He's
just
a lawyer.
say this, Papa, because I got to let you go because we have another caller waiting. But let me
Yes,
just
ma'am.
say this. There's a saying that people will lay down and let anybody write anything on it. The proof is going to be in the pudding.
Yeah, we got to feel it. The people got to feel it.
Exactly.
I like everything what he's saying. They just need to feel it right now. And don't hurt the grocers. Do what you could do to help the grocers. But remember, these people them running a business. But Prime Minister Davis' job is to help the poor right now and do everything get up with the most respect. Thank you, Ms. Malcolm. I'll finish listening.
Thank you so much for calling. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Malcolm.
Hi.
I think Mr. Davis is very serious about helping the people, and his national address that he have a heart. I'm not saying he's a perfect man, but I'm saying he have a heart to concern for the people. But it seems like now everybody is just jamming on him now for the thing that they supposed to get and didn't get. And he's now trying to make it better for the average person, and then plus take care of people them what this one coming, the union coming, the social service coming. So he have his hands full, and he's doing all he can do. And it seems to me like, see, when you look at these big stores, them, they sell in wholesale, retail, everything. And they're making money because you have to go to them. Right now, Ms. Malcolm, egg costs $6 and something cents. I used to eat 2 eggs a morning. Now I only could eat 1. And look, right now, they put your food on the scale when you go to buy that. You know that? Beg your pardon?
I'm listening. Go ahead. Make your point.
The other day, going to buy some turkey and cabbage. I asked them how much for a pound of that. They say $5.58 a pound on the scale. They weight their food now. So I'm saying it's so hard in this, it's so hard
But
now.
they've been weighing food from my Grammy time. But go ahead, finish making your point.
It's so hard now. Noodles what used to cost 50 cents now is costing 85 cents. So you get people from paycheck to paycheck. The minute they get their paycheck today, time is Sunday gone. They got to wait again. It is so expensive in this little Bahamas. People are going through, Ms. Malcolm. And we have to share, like he said, the big business them have to share. Because why can you go to the pharmacy, buy a medicine for $15 to this one, and when you go to the next one, they have it for $9. Same medicine. They say they're going up 50%, their markup is 50%. Well, how come another drugstore have it cheaper?
Well, it depends. And I got to let you go because we have another caller waiting.
Yeah, that's okay.
It depends, because if that particular drugstore that has it cheaper is owned by the same company, which is the wholesaler which they buy it from, then they can undercut the smaller store. And that I have to be careful what I say, but the bottom line is this. I don't understand how we could allow a wholesaler to also be a retailer in the same market. To me, that's kind of crazy, because they can always, if they wish, mark their prices down to beat the other retailers. But I can leave that right there. But thanks so much for calling. Hey, we got another call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Yes, good afternoon, Michelle. How are you?
Excellent. How are you doing today?
Good, I'm doing good. Been listening to you for a long time.
Thank
since you were on the other show.
Thank you.
But something really got me yesterday, your health program, I think it was. I need to have a special number from you so that I can explain my situation and find out how you can help me.
Okay, so what I want you to do, my producer is going to come back on the line, and he's going to take your name and number. I promise I can call you back now. I got a bunch of people I got to call back, so it might not be in 5 minutes. But I got it, but I will get back to you, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thanks very much.
No
Have
worries.
a blessed evening.
You too. We don't want to discuss your private business on the air for everybody to hear. Somebody online is asking what our telephone number is. 3260271, 3260271, or 3260272. 3260272 are the numbers to call. And the WhatsApp line for text messages only is 8010271. Speaking of which, I have somebody who sent a message on WhatsApp that says, without vision, the people will use faith. I don't understand what you're trying to say, Texter, because with vision, you need faith. So I don't understand the point you're trying to make. You have to understand what faith is. You could have a wonderful plan, but you have to have faith to believe that that plan can be executed and will be executed. I remember. I think it's the story of Walt Disney. Walt Disney had this dream of what we see today, but he died before it became a reality. And at the launch of the very first Walt Disney facility, a reporter said, and I'm paraphrasing here, to his widow, "Isn't it a shame that he didn't live to see this?" And her response was, "But he did see it. And that is why we are here." So faith and vision go hand in hand. Now, I don't know if you're somebody who is anti-religious and you're trying to say something, but, I don't understand the point you're trying to make. But even with vision, you need to have faith that that vision can come and will come to pass. So yeah, I don't understand the point. 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. We only have it's already 3:56. I've got 4 minutes left, so I have time for one more call. If you want to call in. If not, we'll just keep talking until these 2 minutes pass. We do, it seems, have a caller. Jason, let me know real quick if that's a call for the show. And if so, it'll be our final call for the day. Is that a yes or no? Yeah? Okay, caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Great, how are you?
I'm great. Really love your show.
Thank
really
you.
Informative.
Thank you.
Yeah, I call in with the situation with the grocers and the pharmaceutical companies and all of that, right?
Uh-huh.
I think it's a bad idea what the government is doing.
Okay.
I was to a meeting with customs, with the brokers and the government.
Mm-hmm.
According to the government, according to the guy who was there from the financial department, the government is losing $100 million from wrong classifications and all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they implemented the single window system. Now, they wanted to implement another system for January coming, where everyone that imports, whether you are an importer, a broker, or a courier, you would have to join this new system that they want. Every person that joins it has to pay $1,000 to join, $150 to be trained by it. And I think to manage the system is like somewhere around $450 a month or something like that. So what is going on? I think the government have something secretly they're dealing with, and they ain't telling the people what it is for sure.
Well, Carl, I can't let you go much further because we're running out of time, but it ain't no secret what's going on. We are on a financial cliff. And if they don't make some tough decisions, we could very well go over that cliff. And I hear them saying, "Oh, don't worry about recession. That we can be all right." But boy, all I can tell you is you better have sense and be able to see what's going on around the world, because we may be a nation of islands, but we are not an island unto ourselves. In other words, we are impacted by what happens in the world, whether they think it's going to impact us or not. Reality is we are going to be seriously impacted. So they know what they deal with financially. I don't think that they're being forthright and telling people just how bad it is. And this is why they're trying to make decisions to try to offset that. But I want to thank you for calling. I got to go because my time is gone. So be sure to call in tomorrow. Tomorrow's open line when we can talk about this and any other issues you guys want to talk about, because it's a TGIF open line show where we talk about the week that was, and you will be my co-host. But you know what? I got to get out of here now. I got to go. So thanks so much for tuning in to all of you. Thank you to Cassius Stuart for always bringing such thought-provoking views. And I'm out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show